Hey, you know what's cool? What? The thing is that when you're growing yourself and then you're like, what the fuck's going on? Ah, are you talking about the thing when you're doing something around your life, you're helping yourself? Something like that. I realize it's just the thing is that when you're growing yourself, you're trying to prosper in some kind of way. But in what kind of way do you talk about? I realize it's just when you grow yourself in that kind of way that you're speaking words. And what happens with that? What happens when you're growing yourself with your words? Well, when I'm growing myself with my words, I start having a perspective in mind. What kind of perspective? Well, the perspective of something going on with my life. So what exactly is going on with your life? I realize, well, the thing is that with my life, I have something going for me in terms of being able to do things with myself. So exactly what kind of things are going on in your life that you want to say? I realize it's just everything is going on right now. I realize everything. I realize everything from being someone to helping myself to growing myself to saying something. I realize, so what exactly are you trying to say? I'm trying to say that I'm trying to grow myself into this person. So what person may that be? I realize it's just this person I want to be. I want to be this person. So what exactly are you trying to say with all this that you're doing in your audio program? I realize it's just I want to talk. I want to talk to myself in some kind of way. But why? Why do you want to talk to yourself? Who makes an audio program on their own? I realize, yeah, that's exactly right. I realize it's just that I'm trying to practice. I mean, what exactly are you trying to practice? I'm trying to practice talking to myself. But why would you talk? Why would you talk to yourself? Why wouldn't I talk to myself? But what do you get out of talking to yourself? I get a lot in terms of being able to understand how to talk to people, for example. But what exactly do you learn from it? I learn from things in terms of being able to understand what I'm talking about with myself and how that would be with other people. I realize, but how does that work? Well, it works in a way that when you're talking to yourself in a nice way, when you're practicing something, it's something happens in terms of words and you're saying something and people start understanding. But what exactly are they trying to understand? I realize that's the thing. They try to understand what's going on with your life. But why do they want to understand what's going on with your life? I realize, but that's why people are keen about things. People are interested about this kind of stuff. But what kind of stuff are they interested in about? That would be interested about you. I realize the thing is that they would be interested in the things that I do. Because the thing is that when I start talking things into the world, things start happening for me on a regular basis where I'm making business, where I'm making something come out of my life. But what exactly are you trying to say, bro? I'm trying to say that people are here to understand something about you. They want to understand something about you. But what exactly are they trying to understand? They're trying to understand what exactly is it about you that you want to grow with, that you want to help them with. But why do you think that people need your help? I realize people need something from me because of the things that I say in terms of words. But what exactly do you say? I say stuff around helping people. But what can that be? I realize just anything that strikes to my mind, anything that comes into my mind, I speak about it. So how do you think that this is going to help people? I realize, well, it helps people in a way that when you're talking words to people, when you're talking to yourself or whatever it is, that you start finding your attraction. What attraction? The attraction of life. I realize, so that's what you're talking about. So it's much more how, so when you're talking about something, you start feeling that people are talking to you. I realize something like that. But what kind of people are talking to you? Who's talking to you? Well, I'm talking to myself, but the thing is that it feels like that I'm having a conversation with someone. But who exactly are you talking to? I'm just talking to myself at the moment. But the thing is, you have to realize that I'm trying to grow myself in some kind of way. But I understand you're trying to grow yourself. But the thing is, you have to realize that you have to start doing something with your life. So what can I do? I realized, well, I can help myself to grow. But how would you help yourself to grow? That's the thing. I realized, well, I would find things to do. What kind of things would you do? Well, I want to be a more talkative person. I want to talk to people more. So how would I talk to people more if I have no internet? Well, the thing is, you get internet and you start talking to people. But then what would you get out of it? What kind of things would you get out of talking to people? Well, you would start having a conversation with people. You would start understanding how to talk. So is it about small conversations with people? Is it something that you have to have a small talk with people? Or something like that, just to understand people. But how can you do that? How can you become a better person through it? Well, you can start doing things around helping people to grow in some kind of way. So what kind of things that you would grow with people? I realize you'd start talking about things. What kind of things will you talk about? You talk about anything. I realize, so now when you talk about things, what kind of things would you talk about? You talk about whatever it is that is on your mind. That's all you talk about. Whatever's on your mind, you talk about. So when you talk about people in terms of life, what do you say? I say whatever's on my mind. So why would you do that? I realize because the thing is that I can go places with my thinking. But what kind of places can you go to? I realize I can go anywhere. Where can you go? I realize anywhere you want. I realize, but the thing is, you have to talk better than that. I realize, but how do I talk then? I realize you say something. You say something to grow. But what would you say to people? I realize, well, I would say whatever is on my mind. I realize, but now we're going back and forth with the conversation. So what exactly is it that you're trying to say in terms of what are you trying to say into this audio program or into live? I realize, well, I want to say whatever I want. I want to speak into a nice, beautiful way. I want to speak in a nice and beautiful way. I want to speak in a nice and beautiful way. So what kind of things can you say to grow yourself? Well, I can speak in a nice way to help myself to understand something. Well, what exactly is that? What exactly would you want to say with that? You can always ask questions to people. You can always ask any question you want to people. So anyway, what kind of things do you want to say? I want to say whatever's on my mind. Whatever's on my mind, I want to say. So what exactly do you think about in daily life? I think about all things in my life. I think about everything. But exactly what are you trying to say with this audio program? I'm trying to say something. I'm not exactly sure what exactly I'm trying to say, but I have an idea. So you're a funny person, man. I swear. So how can it be more funny? Well, the thing is, you have to talk, don't you? That's right, you have to talk. I realize, but what happens if you talk in a long direction? You're just talking words, aren't you? I'm making a new playlist in my life. I'm making something new for myself. What are you making? I'm making a new YouTube playlist. Why? But it's just me talking to myself. But why would you do that? Because I feel that I'm talking to someone. I feel like someone's questioning me and I'm answering the questions that they're talking about. But why would you do that? I would do that because it helps me to understand something. It helps me to see something much better. What exactly does it help you with? It helps me to see how to talk. But how do you talk? I say whatever's on my mind. I realize, but why would you do that? Why wouldn't I do that? Because of the things that you say? I realize, no. I realize because of the things that I do say, I help people with it. So how does that help people? It helps people in the best way. I realize, how does it help people? Because I say something and I help people with it. But what exactly in the information helps people? Well, whatever it is that I say gives an idea to something. So how does that help people? It helps people in a nice way. So it helps people because you're nice? I realize, yeah, I'm nice, but the thing is, you have to realize I'm trying to grow myself in some kind of way. But isn't that a funny story? I realize, what's a funny story? I realize how you talk to yourself. Isn't that funny that you're talking to yourself because you have maybe no one to talk to? I realized, now I've got someone to talk to, but I don't want to talk to many people right now. Why don't you want to talk to many people? Because I feel somehow that I want to talk to myself. So you're trying to say that you're trying to grow yourself in some kind of way where you're trying to speak to yourself, you're trying to grow yourself from whatever it is that you're trying to do, and you're trying to make a business out of it. I'm trying to make some kind of business out of whatever I'm saying right now. But why would you do that? Why would you make a business out of this? What's so special about talking to yourself? I realized, no, you don't understand. It's much more how I want to grow myself in a way where I'm speaking to myself in like I'm being questioned, but also like I'm answering my own questions. But why would you do that? Because it helps me to grow. How does it help you to grow? It helps me by showing me to think better. I can start thinking better about ideas, about life, about how I want to grow myself. So how would you grow yourself? Well, I'll grow myself in the best way. I realized, but what kind of best way is that? I realized, well, with habits, with my speaking, communication, whatever it is around my ideas, talking words, talking something about life, helping myself to grow. But what exactly about that does it help you to grow? I realized, how does that help you to grow? I realized it helps me in the best way. I realized, but how? How does that help you to grow? I realized because of the ideas that I give. What kind of ideas are you giving? I'm giving some ideas. What kind of ideas? But anything about life. Anything about life. So what exactly are you trying to say? I'm trying to say that I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to say that I'm growing myself in the best way. But how are you growing yourself? I'm growing myself with questions and answers. That's how I grow myself. So I realized something. I realized how to grow. How do you grow? You grow yourself with answers and questions. You answer your own questions. So how is that supposed to help you to grow? Well, it helps you grow because it starts helping you to influence people. I think you're too much into influencing people these days, Danny. Nah, I'm just growing myself in some kind of way. But how is that possible? Because of how I'm actually doing things around my life. Because of how I'm actually saying things. So you think that you're trying to help someone by doing this program? I think I'm just trying to post free information online. So what's so special about this information that you're giving? I realized, well, it says something about my life. It says something about whatever's happening in my life. So how is that supposed to help me to grow? I realized, well, it helps me to grow. Helps me in a personal manner to grow. But how's that helping the audience grow? Well, it helps the audience because it's information. So now when I talk to myself, how do I talk to myself? I talk to myself in the best way, don't I? So isn't that a nice and beautiful question, isn't it? I realize, yes, it is. I realize now, if you want to grow yourself, how you grow? You grow yourself in the best way, of course. But how are we supposed to influence the audience to help them? Well, we start recognizing things around life where we're growing ourselves in the best way and we're trying to do stuff for ourselves in some kind of way. But how does that grow myself? How does that grow me? I realize it grows you in the best way. I realize, but how is that possible? I realize because you're saying something, you're growing yourself in some kind of way. I see, so how does that grow me? I realize it grows me because I'm helping myself. Well, how are you helping yourself? I'm trying to grow myself. That's why. But how does that help me? I realize, how does that help the audience? I realize because the audience finds out something about me. But what exactly do you think they're trying to find out about you? I realize many people are not trying to find out about me, but you have to realize that I have something that I want to give. But what exactly are you trying to give? I'm trying to give information. Just information about my life. But why would you do that? Why would you expose your life to people? Because if I expose my life, I can help people with my information. But what makes you think they're going to listen to you? They don't have to listen to me. But why would they listen to you? Because I have information to give. But what kind of information do you have to give? I have life information, but what kind of life information do you give anyway? Everything about life. I realize that's the thing. So when I grow myself, I talk to myself. That's what you're doing currently. But why would you do that? Because it helps me. It helps me in some kind of way. So when you're talking to yourself, you grow yourself by talking to yourself. But it seems to get out some ideas from me. It seems to help me in some kind of way to talk. But why would that help you to talk? Because I start thinking about what I'm going to say. And then I start realizing how to have a conversation with people. But what makes you think that having a conversation with yourself is going to be the same as having a conversation with other people? Well, it's not going to be the same, but it's going to be something similar. Well, what makes you think that? Well, just about the things that I say, around whatever it is that I'm saying. So what makes you think you're so special that people want to hear you? Well, people think about things in a way that they start emulating someone in life, and it's like they're trying to give ideas, they're trying to give something to people. So what are you trying to say? I'm trying to say that whatever I'm giving, that somehow it comes across as a good thing. So what exactly is a good thing in life? Well, good things happen in terms of good things are whatever it is that you're doing in life that is helping people. So what makes you think that you're helping people? Because of how I am in life. But how is that an answer? It is. So what are you trying to say? I'm trying to say how I grow myself in life. I'm trying to say how I grow myself. So what exactly is the situation of growing yourself, and how do you suppose that this information is going to help people? It helps people because if I advertise it online, somehow it's going to help people. But what happens if you don't advertise it? Then how is it going to help people? Well, the thing is, I just post it online anyway. So what are you trying to say? I'm trying to say I'm trying to grow myself, and that's it. So that's something I learned today. And what did you learn? I learned this program. I learned something about myself. I learned something about this thing I have in my life. Well, what exactly is it about you anyway? I realize it's just the way it is. I realize it's just the way I am. What are you trying to say, man? I realize I'm trying to say how to talk to myself. How is that possible, man? How is what possible? How is it possible that you're trying to grow yourself? Well, I'm trying to grow myself in some kind of way, aren't I? But how is that possible? Well, it's possible because of the things that I'm saying. Well, that's it then, isn't it? I realize, isn't that the conversation you want to have with yourself? I realize the conversation is everything. But yes, it is. But what are you trying to say with that? I realize, of course, I'm trying to say something. I'm trying to say something in my life. But of course, how is that going to help people? Yes, and it helps people in some kind of way. Alright, next question. Okay, so what are you trying to understand about yourself right now? What are you trying to say? I'm trying to say, here I am. I'm growing myself. Alright, so that's all done then, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's a nice conversation. I realize, yes, it is. But the thing is, you have to realize it's a funny conversation with yourself. Well, that's what it is. I realize it is a funny conversation with myself. It's like I have nobody else to talk to. But yes, you do. You do have people to talk to. You probably just want to talk to yourself. And that's true. That's totally true. And now, of course, you have to think of things to say, don't you? I have to think of a lot of things to say. Why would you say a lot of things in life? Like, what's so special about things to say in life? Well, I have a lot of things to say in terms of my picture, in terms of how I speak to myself, in terms of life. And what exactly are you trying to say with this? I'm trying to think what to say. I'm trying to see what to say. So exactly how is that going to help you? Well, it helps me in some kind of way. What exactly does it help you with? It helps me to communicate. I communicate with myself like this. So when you have a conversation with yourself, you're helping yourself grow. I realize that's how I do it. I realize that's how I do it. So how is that going to help me? I realize it helps me in every single kind of way. I realize it helps me also. I realize, but how is that helping us? It helps us in the best way. I realize now that's it. I realize that's how it goes. But how is that possible? It's possible anyway. I realize everything's possible in life. I realize, but anyway, that's how I have a conversation with myself. I realize anyway, that's how I do. I realize I do life like that. So what are you trying to say? I'm trying to say the best things in life. And then I just grow myself. I grow myself in the best way. That's all I say.